Right, hello guys, welcome back. So, in my previous video, I did some testing on the new supers with the brand new Limit Break artifact perk, and we were just trying to find out how good they were, get some information on the total damage numbers, just kind of have some fun. I normally like to do that on this channel with the testing stuff. However, it seems like this video has created a little bit of discourse, because after the video went live, I saw lots of comments on the video saying things like, oh, how the Hunter has fallen, the Hunter fall off is crazy, man, Nighthawk Goldie being third worst one feels just wrong, and several more. So people are kind of clowning on hunters in my comment section, and there was also a heated discussion happening on Twitter or X that got a fair amount of attention that was referencing my video that got people talking about the state of hunter supers and just the sort of ranking of supers from different classes in general. The point is, a lot of people looked at this chart, saw that the hunter supers were doing the worst, and then kind of jumped to the conclusion that they were just the worst class, they were not really worth playing at all compared to the others, which I can assure you is definitely not the case, and I can prove it to you today with some extra sort of tidbits that I wanted to touch on relating to this video. So this nicely brings me onto the topic of today's video, which is context. And the context of these numbers is what matters the most, because if you judge them in the wrong way, it can lead to misconceptions about what you're actually seeing in front of you. Also, I should note that I was partially inspired to make this video by another video from another creator named Engineer, who goes much further into the nuance of this topic that we're about to discuss, so I will leave his video in the description if you want to check out a deeper dive on this topic. So the context for my original video was that I was judging these supers based on their total damage. I wasn't doing any DPS tests, I was literally just going to Greg, seeing how much total damage the super could do, and then plonking it on a results sheet at the end. It's what we do here. I quite like doing super testing every season, it's just something I find quite enjoyable, and clearly you guys do too, because the video has done pretty well on the channel. However, this can lead to misinterpretation of things, especially when it comes to comparing one class to the other or the other. So first of all, let's compare Celestial Nighthawk, the third worst on my list, to Chaos Reach, the fourth best on my list. For starters, Chaos Reach is a great super this season, especially when paired with the right build, and as you can see, it puts out a considerable amount of single target damage. However, it takes 9.3 seconds to dispense said damage, which leaves it at a DPS or damage per second value of 138,227 according to my data, calculated from animation start to animation end. Celestial Nighthawk, on the other hand, deals about 500,000 less damage, but takes 2 seconds to output said damage, which leaves it at a much higher DPS of 436,011. So, for example, in the context of a made-up damage phase that lasts for 10 seconds, let's say, you're left with so much more time to damage with your actual weapons because your super ends far sooner, at least compared to Chaos Reach in this example. So this will lead to more damage being dealt overall. But we're kind of comparing apples to oranges here, because one is a Warlock super and one is a Hunter super, so why don't we compare two Hunter supers? This time we're going to be comparing Silk Strike, which is the third best on my list, again to Celestial Nighthawk, to kind of show you how things stack up and what the difference between total damage and DPS really means. I love Silk Strike and it's one of my favorite supers. However, in a damage rotation that involves a super to bolster it, replacing Nighthawk with Silk Strike purely because it does more damage according to my data can actually massively harm the rotation, and I'm going to try and show you this with a live example. Okay, so this is just going to be me trying to create a sort of simple rotation that involves Nighthawk, just to kind of get a baseline gauge of how much damage we can deal. So I think what I'll do first is just this here, and then we can do this. This is kind of me freestyling it, so don't really know much to expect here, but let's give this a shot. Hopefully Greg doesn't kill me either. Boom, boom, boom. No Greg. Okay, that rocket missed. That's fine. Okay, so that wasn't a great rotation, but you know, we did about half of his health. 3.2 million damage. Obviously, it could have been a bit better, but just bear that in mind for now. So here, I'm going to try and do my best to do the exact same rotation, but we have Silk Strike on instead, and I'm going to show you the difference of kind of what this does for the rotation as a whole. So we're going to go this, rocket. Yeah, shoot please. We go here. I'm going to go boom. And I'm just going to spam my Silk Strike, which in the other example was a Nighthawk. And we're just going to see how the damage compares for each rotation. So I'm finished with the Silk Strike here. I can probably just hit this, do a couple rockets. But it's kind of at this point that the damage is over. So as you can see, with a roaming super, you are kind of massively limiting the amount of damage you can do with your actual weapons afterwards. So that's 1 million damage less here. And obviously this doesn't apply to everything. Of course, Greg is a pretty standard 30-second DPS phase, but as you can see, even though Silk Strike was around 500,000 damage more than Nighthawk, if you try to incorporate it just because it has more damage than Nighthawk in the same sort of scenarios that you would use Nighthawk, it doesn't work. It really just doesn't work. So that is something to keep in mind, is that yes, it does have good total damage, but the DPS of the super is not nearly as good. Obviously, like I said, this is an extreme example, but I do think it showcases the difference between a super that does a lot of damage over a longer period of time versus a super that does less damage but over a much shorter period of time. However, this isn't to say you should never use these high damage supers because, again, context matters. And actually, quite a good way that I can show you this context is using Behemoth on Riven and attempting to one-phase her. Now, I do have Limit Break on here, I do have Tractor Cannon, and I have Feast of Light ×6 with Facet of Ruin. So that should be all I need. We kind of just need to wait for her to turn up. Okay, so she's here. I'm just going to make myself red bar. They should make me red bar at least. And let's just give this a try. See how much damage I can deal. But as you can see, the reason why this is good here is because the crystals can affect all of her hitbox because it's so massive. I don't think I'm going to kill here, but if you know anything about Riven and Behemoth, yeah, there you go. You see, it's like half of her health, and it's just me using a super. So yes, this is a very good context for where you would use these high damage supers, despite the fact that they take you out of using your weapons. But yeah, like I said, context matters. I just wanted to show you this. So to kind of wrap things up and to fully dispel the notion that hunters have fallen off, I want you to watch this next clip just to fully prove that hunters are still very much good at what they do best. Okay, so this is my first time practicing this for today. So I might be a bit rusty, but we're just going to give this a crack. So I'm just going to swap to you. And we're going to go here. This. Please don't kill me, Subjugator, please. Thank you. Give me that passive command. Thank you. There we go. Going well so far. I hit a Chieftain bullet. Nice. Thank you, Chieftain. Much appreciated. And we hit a body shot. Improvised, but we'll take it. Another brick, maybe. Oh, we got an extended phase. Come on, surely this is 8 mil. Bang, 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 bang. Right. First clip. Not too shabby. So, hunters, dare I say, you shouldn't be complaining about much. 8.1. There you go. We got the luck for the first recording session. 8.1 with a hunter, with a Nighthawk, by the way. So, you're still very good at what you're supposed to be doing. Nice, man. I can't believe it. Can't believe we got that first try. So yeah, 8.2 million damage, and neither Warlock nor Titan is capable of achieving those numbers, at least on the Witness. But like I said, Hunters still have a very good damage potential, not to be kind of scrubbed away by the results from my testing that I did in the video the other day. This is a totally different matter. DPS, total damage, totally different things. And I hope after what you've just seen that you can also see that. So yeah, like I said at the beginning, the context matters. And the context for my previous video was just fun. It was just have a bit of fun and test the total damage of the new supers with Limit Break. But if we take the same chart and adjust it for DPS values instead of total damage values, well, then you can see that it actually looks a fair amount different. In fact, Nighthawk is among the top supers, as well as Blade Barrage and other supers that have a very short cast time compared to the others, which are higher damage, but much longer cast time. I hope this has helped you understand the disparity between these metrics, being total damage and DPS, and also given you a fresh look at the super sandbox. In future, when I decide to redo these super testing videos, I will strive to include a section about DPS as well, just to avoid confusion once again. Again, shout out to Engineer for his video, and with that concludes today's video. So thank you for watching, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, dear viewer.